In the earlier episodes in this brief series on power and enterprise architecture, we've looked at that power is the ability to do work, the relationship between power and responsibility. So what I want to end with now, this series, is a brief checklist on power and enterprise architecture and what to look for. So the definitions we had again: power as the ability to do work, rather than the very common tendency to regard power as the ability to avoid work, to offload it onto others. The ability to do work as a personal choice, on purpose, a sense of purpose. And also power in relation to the ability to choose appropriate responses is what we mean by responsibility. So the first checklist item is, if power is the ability to do work, what is the work to be done? What work needs to be done in the context that you're looking at? What needs to be changed? Physical, data, relationships, connections to purpose, to aims, to enterprise. What is the work that needs to be done? Next checklist item, what are the energies, the assets, the resources? What are you going to do the work on? What ability do you need to do that work? What are the resources that you need that will enable power to create the space in which it is possible to do the work? A third checklist item is about who or what has the power and responsibility to do the work. Who has the ability to do it and the ability to choose appropriate responses? This is a lot where skill comes in, for example, skill and experience. If someone doesn't have the skill, they're not able to choose the appropriate responses for the context when the things get messy, when things get difficult. A fourth item, what are the risks in the context where a system might prop itself up by putting others down, where a person or a system overall, a technical system, might create a deadlock where all the power is being used in competition? What are the contexts here where you can see things are knocking against each other and pushing hard, wasting all of the energy and the work on doing nothing at all? Next item, what systems tend to offload responsibility onto another? For example, if one system runs open loop and expects the other parts of the system to catch up, to close the loop for it. A system which just runs straight away with no brakes. A system that churns out work after work after work with no actual assessment of whether it's on purpose. Another item, when we look at the whole system, what are the mutualities, what are the balance points, the interlocks, to make the system balanced and fair so that you get the most work on purpose out of the overall system? How does the system check? What are the checks and balances that make it all work? And a last item to consider, if there are all these mutualities, if there are all these interlocks, then who gets to decide what is fair? Who decides what is balanced? Because if those people themselves are not being fair, if those people are offloading work onto others, if those systems are choosing to offload work onto others, then again the whole system is going to be wasteful. If you like, who's watching the watchers? What are the checks and balances that work throughout? How do they apply to everyone, and who gets to decide? So that's a checklist that you can use live in real work in enterprise architecture, tackling the relentlessly political nature of so much of enterprise architecture work.